Welcome.
I'm finally seeing the drones.
I'm the alien scientist, and this is YouTube. Welcome. We're going to talk about the New Jersey drones tonight and what the heck is going on. I have been researching the UFO topic from an insider perspective for the past 20 years. I've interviewed people who worked for DARPA, NASA, Area 51, all pretty much all the experts on this. I used to watch unsolved mysteries and a lot of UFO shows on TV growing up as a kid, and became super interested in all this stuff. I've researched it for 20 years. I've done extensive investigations into every case that I've come across, and I just want to share what I know about these UFOs and what I think about all this UFO stuff from my research in the past 20 years into this topic. So let's and I also want to open this up to some, the audience suggestion, because there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of stuff about a lot of different, more than me, maybe. So if you see something that you like, want to talk about, want more information on, let's get you on the show and we can talk about some stuff. So, one of the first things I'd like to talk about is balloons and blimps, right? So, what are some of the blimps that are more exotic that people don't really know about? And, some of the more common ones where you're like, yeah, that's definitely a blimp. Whereas some of the other less common ones that are sometimes equipped with these rather sophisticated surveillance and spy equipment. Just for reference, let's talk about the Argus um, surveillance blimp. Yeah, so the BAE Systems developed this like 20 years ago. There's a video out about this. This was developed by BAE. This can be set up on a blimp or a tethered blimp or another object flown over a target area. Say you want to keep eye on the Super Bowl or the Boston Marathon or any one of these things. You set up one of these Arguses, and what the Argus is like 1,000 iPhone. I don't know how many, like 1,000 iPhone cameras all set up in this giant eye, and it literally takes this 40 gigapixel uh, image, which you can scan in and basically see a newspaper um, within an area this big. So this is what they had 20 years ago, and on a good day, they have some satellites that can um, read the Marlboro on your cigarette, I've been told. So there's some interesting technologies out there already that have been out there. Blimps, in general, yeah, it's boring. It's not as crazy as the more advanced stuff, but we'll go back to the 40s and 50s. Man, we started making helicopters, and there was this whole idea that Joe and your average Joe plumber is going to take his helicopter to work with all his tools. Was a dream of the future. I don't know if it never materialized, but there was this idea back in the day. I guess the safety of them really um, scared a lot of people away. But to go back to this, right? World's largest flying car archive, and I'll put all these links in the description at the end of this. You can go back to the early 1900s, 1917. They're working on some of these, personalized car slash aeroplane, ideas. The Curtiss autoplane, yeah, didn't quite. A lot of the stuff didn't quite take off because it's like, I'm not going to be driving this thing down the street and take it apart and drive it down the road. It just not super practical. Um, it just turns out, it's one or the other. Really, cars are made different than airplanes in a lot of different ways, and these early aviation concepts, go back to you know some really crazy ideas. The Vlahos Triphibian could do. It was a boat, airplane, and a car. So they wanted to, 1939, the Jesse Dixon flying automobile, right? This was Jesse Dixon had this idea that you're going to drive this thing down the street and then also, fly it up in the air. And the Hafner Rota buggy, 1942, Airmaster autoplane flying car. But just imagine this is like what we were coming up with and developing back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And this was 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago now in some cases. This is a long time ago. This is old as hell. So let's think about what we have now. Some of the companies that are on the market today would be like Nuvia Tech Instruments. Let's check these guys out. Drones, G, gamma detection, and spectroscopy. Jesus, that's like I would think that was an SUV size if I any better. It's not quite an SUV size. This is not like a that's a big freaking drone, but it's well, yeah, sorry, there's no audio. But this is some of the stuff that's on the market. All right, there's just one company, right? Big money in drones right now. So there's another company, Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. These guys are on the West Coast. They're not going to be in New Jersey flying around, but just so the East Coast can see the West Coast as competition for some of the custom-made drones on the market. This one's for radiological surveys. So I'm finding a lot of these commercial drone companies, the big ones are doing this survey technology, this radiation sweep. So there's a lot of companies working on this and building this for some reason. Reason to test it out. But they do aerial surveying, and also, yeah, they have this GPR and terahertz and other ways of like scanning to look deep underground, so they can see underground bunkers, see underground stuff. Um, there's a lot of drones that are being built currently that do this kind of stuff. So you got to think, well, what does the Chinese build what they have? Are these things like Russian and Chinese that are flying over our bases? I mean, we do. The balloons had the laser scanners that were scanning laterally across the field, and that can give them geospatial data in conjunction with other data. So they can get an accurate map out of different areas as well as seeing transmissions of things. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, I gotta maybe I can set up my other mic at some point. I need to figure out how to reset that up. Sorry guys, sorry about that audio glitch. Hopefully you can hear me better now. There's probably a drone flying outside my house, hacking my sound. That's what they could do now. They could literally just fly a drone outside your window and just hack your sound. So I'm moving a little closer, and Arctis FPG radiation detection drone, another one. So there's a lot of these radiation detection drones. If you look on the market for just commercially, what's out there and what's selling and what's companies are developing and what the market's looking for as far as large size drones. Um, the radiation detection drones are like the biggest kind of flying around commercial drones on the market. There are um, there have been some ideas about drones that could take the ice off ice blades and and wind blades at wind farms in icy areas. I've seen that. I'm gonna find that, but yeah, Chromec again, another company building advanced imaging, industrial and security drones, medical, and advanced imaging. Scanners. Again, some of these GPR, lidar, and other area monitoring type technologies that can be done from drone, which is pretty wild stuff. Definitely a thing of those guys didn't foresee when they were designing helicopters back in the 30s and 40s and 50s, what this market would turn into. And now, personalized helicopters, well, it's like the idea of that two blades on top. Well, if that thing fails, then you're going down, and there was a lot of safety measures in that whole thing. But with these types of not this four blade one, but got enough power to like get you to the ground if things go like seriously wrong. But um again, wouldn't want to hit a bird with these open, fast moving propellers like that. That's you hit anything with that, and then those drones are going down. Anyone who's flown a drone around and played with drones, you lose a couple and they go down a few times. And if you're on board the thing, man, it's like you don't want that thing messing up. So I guess the AI is going to really help with that tremendously. In addition to, but it's really for the really wealthy people. It's just like a expensive, different kind of helicopter. Um, but again, the idea is that people that want to have the money and want to pay for something like this because it's worth the commute. I mean, you go to the website and there's maps of. Oh, sorry, that might have been the one I meant to click on. Oh yeah, this is the one, right? So Air One, this guy's got a map right on here showing Long Island to Connecticut. You could go all the way through New York City and go around and go up Stanford and try to get to New Haven. But if you want a direct route from Montauk to New Haven, you could just take this drone and just fly there like instantly, and you don't have to like take a boat or a ferry or mess with any of that stuff. So if you live in New Haven or you live in upstate Connecticut or something, and work in New York or work on Long Island, it would be yeah, these electric air taxis, dude. So again, thank you, everyone in the chat tonight. What is So yeah, UFO is not drones. So we're talking about all the drones. Let's talk about some of the military ones that are out there that um the Lockheed Martin Cormorant. I've talked about this many times before. It's transmedium craft. That means it literally launches from a submarine. So the ICBM subs which they were phasing out in like the late 90s, they started remaking them into they wanted these drones that you could launch drones out of the sub instead of an ICBM because it's a whole different ball game. So the artist's depiction of this cormorant. Some people have seen these things, and of course, it also fires like a missile, which kind of looks like a tic tac too. Um, Much smaller than the E green bullet, which we showed earlier, which also kind of looks like the tic tac. Some of these things. do look like the Tic Tac a little bit. But yeah, that Lockheed Cormorant is this is a craft that was built almost 20 years ago now, 15, 20 years ago now, and it literally fires from a submarine, goes out and drones it does its drone mission, and then goes back into the water. And the submarine goes and picks it back up, and it redocks it, and it goes and see you later. So then we talked about, all the more exotic technology with lasers and directed energy technologies that happened out of the black projects in the U.S. Navy in the 80s, where they, had a think tank at Rensselaer Polytech, and this guy, Dr. Lake Marabou, came up with this idea, which they liked, and had him do a bunch of research on and really refine and look and do a lot of, this was set to be declassified in 2025, so that's next year. I know that he's under NDA until 2027, 2 more years, but so they got a limited amount of time to get this technology fully out there before they think it's fully out there. It's few people know about it, like channels like this and stuff, but it's not been real well publicized, at least not in the mainstream yet. And this tech has gone way beyond what it was in the 80s, where they were just blasting things with lasers. Yeah. Sabina Holzenfelder made a video on flying cars. She has the problem with everything. Yeah, there's problems. There's problems with all the companies, and she does good research with all these, you know. Um, the regulations is a big milestone, and yeah, so the dream, that was the dream of the Jetsons, gonna be our future. Fold up right into your suitcase. Yeah, so let's open this up again. I'll post this out there one more time for those of you in the audience that know more than I do, because they're out there. We know people who know stuff come on this show and share stuff we don't know about all the time. But I've had a lot of people on the show share a lot of crazy stuff. Haven't gotten anyone who's worked on this stuff directly on the show. A lot of them are, too busy working on real stuff to talk, but that's a super interesting technology and related to a ton of other applications, because if you do this laser tech and you combine it with like aerogels, which are super light, those aerogels will it's a F equals ma. Your m is like super small, so you're going to get a huge force for a huge acceleration for a small amount of force. So they could propel these things around in balloons too. So balloons, you can propel them around with these lasers too. So there's a whole patent on this. If you look up Kevin Kremeyer patents, right? And yeah, laser-based flow modification to remotely control air vehicle flight path. Boom, a whole patent on it. Could take control of an airplane, fly it, its wings by making plasma on the attaching plasma to the surface of the wing of the craft, screwing up the aerodynamics and making it turn directions it didn't want to. Yeah, well, they can think about if they can do that to a heavy airframe airplane, can certainly do that to a balloon or a ball of aerogel, right? So, holy mackerel. Yeah, the whole beetle wing thing with that's Grebennikov anti-gravity stuff, right? platform. Yeah, the Grebennikov platform. You guys have seen this crap, right? With the bug wings, and he took the bug wings and made this made something with the bug chitin that was I didn't get this particular thing working. Yeah, they relates it back to the scarab beetles, saying that that it's the ancient Egyptian secret, and he draws it on his little platform thing, which is wooden thing. Oh yeah, that's weird. I never got those effects myself that you can observe. But, yeah. So it's like a electric. If you electrify the bug wing, it gives off a force. Apparently, he was showing, but we could never really get this work. A lot of people tried doing experiments with this, but didn't get any results. I certainly make a platform that you can lift off the ground. But it just it's one of those things, man. Oh, hey, Michael, welcome.
Hey, Jeremy.
What
I just wanted to
do you
mention
think
with the
these
drones and
drones
stuff,
are? You
it's
think it's
possible to spoof that with those.
personalized aircraft like we showed before? Doing radiation surveillance. Do you think it's people, rich people flying, trying to take a couple hours off their commute to back
I
home?
mean,
Do you think it's
yeah, I don't know.
advanced, super advanced technology? Lockheed Martin.
It could be Lockheed Martin stuff.
Um,
They said they were coming in and
anything
out of
else
the
I
water.
didn't mention? Yeah.
Or that was allegedly that these things were coming in
Coming
and
in
out.
on
Oh, was I muted or something? Or I just suddenly heard my echo. That was weird. Anyway, hopefully I'm audible. I'll check the chat jump in a sec. But
Yeah, I can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to like point out that those laser plasma things. If you take like some high power pulse lasers and you cross the beams, you can create dots of plasma up in the sky. And at nighttime, like these things haven't been observed during the daytime. Like the only time we got a silhouette of it, that was a proven like fake thing. Like someone had like a TIE fighter drone toy thing, and they sent that up in the air, and that you could see the silhouette on. But I don't think. I mean, I guess other people have been looking at this more. So, do we have any silhouettes of these drones, or is it just the lights in the sky? Because if it's just lights in the sky, you could easily spoof that with plasma, like in that Japanese 3D display sort of thing. Like there's a military grade lasers will certainly have the power density at the distances to be able to fake these sorts of things. And then they say they have 6 hours of loiter time, so I don't know. You know what's interesting though? They say they're the size of a car. The thing that I saw back when I was in middle school, that was about the size of a car too. So it was like a little, it was almost like a shuttlecraft from a Star Trek or something in size. So it's curious. I don't think that's the. Is that the one? Plasma Tech. Oh, that's a different one. Yeah, plasma-based flashbangs. But yeah, I mean, you can ionize air. You can get little spots to appear in the plasma, and the plasma balls will appear on radar because they're electrically conductive. So that spoofs the radar and the visual signal. And I mean, it's interesting that they're only appearing at night because maybe that's when these plasma balls are most visible. You can't see them in the day.
Or we will be forced to fire upon you.
It's called the laser-induced plasma effect, and it's made by the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate. So what they've done is basically create a laser that can shoot out to a certain distance and they can pipe in sound waves through it and actually make human voice sounds and commands.
Stop, or we will be forced to fire upon
Now, where this becomes useful is around an area where you want to keep a perimeter secure. So essentially, you can shoot out this laser. You can then talk to the people on the edge of the perimeter rather than sending troops out there and tell them to get away, or you're going to shoot, or get away, or they're going to use other means to deter them. And that same laser can be used to actually target the individual and create heat through pinpricks, like microscopic pinpricks in their skin, even beneath clothing. It's extremely uncomfortable, and people move out of the way almost immediately. At the same time, the exact same laser is also being used as kind of a never-ending flashbang grenade. It can basically, with a power source, it can constantly create audible effects to deter and confuse and disorient people, just like a flashbang grenade that you would have in your kit, but would only be able to flash once, maybe twice, depending on the design.
So,
now, it's still a few years away. They just finished testing to get the audio portion.
Maybe it'd be useful to give people like an overview of the situation. I mean, I came in like 12 minutes in, but did we give an overview of the situation in New Jersey right now? I think Mark went out and looked for these things too.
Yeah, maybe I could call Mark and get him to come on and
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, but yeah. So actually, I mean, I'm even a little out of the loop too. So I mean, for my benefit too, what's the current status of all of this stuff? And have people are there still drones and things showing up? Well, I guess he's calling Mark. Yeah, that'd be cool. I guess I'll do a quick review of what's on the news. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, so the drone situation, there's been a couple things so far, right? I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to this, but the Pentagon has made a couple announcements. If there's been a couple official announcements. So let's look those up of the drone situation, because I want to make sure I get this correct of exactly what they said. Because let me see. Yeah, 6 hours ago.
Shockingly said this week, we haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat, close quote. What? The massive invasion of drones observed and recorded by so many of our citizens, including and especially law enforcement and military personnel, many who are here. Is it unusual? Is he kidding? How does Secretary Mayorkas, who infamously told us for years that our southern border was secure and closed when we know it's not, and now insult our intelligence that we haven't seen anything unusual? This is usual? I don't think so. And how can he and others, like National Security Spokesman Admiral John Kirby, say we know there's no threat? How do they know that? What are they revealing? Or are they just saying it? How can anyone speculate or issue assurances to thousands, millions of Americans? Shockingly said.
Even after watching this video.
Shocking.
Jeremy, you're muted.
The situation is shocking.
Oh, is that looks like a normal human-made
Tonight,
drone.
an aerial mystery that's been described as unnerving is growing. The FBI now investigating multiple reports of unidentified drones flying over New Jersey, some as large as a small car. And today, a large drone seen here, also described as the size of a small vehicle, flying over a California event where Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was in attendance.
That's a company. That's on the West Coast. They have a company that makes those personal vehicle drones. What was it called again? I'm blanking on the name.
I've been through
Jetson
a
One, I think.
couple of them already. Yeah, we went through a bunch of these. There was
Jetson One. That's the company that I recall.
Oh,
They're out there in California. There's a bunch of eVTOL companies out there in Silicon Valley, so it could be that if it's on the West Coast.
Yeah, there's a ton of them, and I got to remind people that, like, even back in the 40s, there was a ton of them. You know?
Really? Wait, 40s, like 1940s? Oh yeah, because the NIMSA club and all that.
Yeah, man, the Aero Club. I mean, there's been people trying to build stuff since. I mean, NIMS Aero Club goes back to 1875. Apparently, there's the airship mystery and stuff. So there's people building flying machines for quite a while.
Well, they did have lighter than air flying machines for a long time. I mean, they had, all sorts of dirigibles and things. I think actually back in the Civil War, they were using hot air balloons for surveillance and stuff and reconnaissance. Yeah, so actually even longer ago, like I think I think the first hot air balloon schematic was from like the Middle Ages or before. But heavier than air flight, that's a different story. Back then it was all hydrogen or helium based. And if you were like a rich person, actually helium wasn't that pricey back then, but if you were a wealthy business person back in the 1800s or the Gilded Age or whatever, you could certainly afford enough helium to just make a blimp and fly around on it.
I'm not freaking sharing this.
What's this thing? Oh, it's just broken. Oh,
You're not seeing all these cars.
oops. Yeah. There's. Is that? Oh, interesting. 1960. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do it. It's all about the cost effectiveness, though, I suppose. That's a fun looking one. Some of these might be concept cars, though. I mean, just like
Yeah.
the company makes one of them just to
But
try it out.
still, like the ideas and the inspiration was all there, man. Like, and just think about what we have now with technology wise. It's like we're there.
Yeah.
Control systems and then the stabilization and
Well, I mean, except with energy, it takes a lot of energy to get something to fly. So unless you have inertia cancellation, like Mark's working on, yeah, it just takes a lot of energy to fly.
Right.
And that's the fundamental thing. Like if we don't have like fusion power, we're not going to see flying cars probably. And even if we do have fusion power, it might not end up economical to have flying cars unless unless we have inertial cancellation, which I'm hopeful for now. Actually, Mark's been having some interesting results recently with that, so hopefully he does come on tonight to talk about that a little bit. But I'm really hopeful. They got George Hathaway's giant monstrosity of a machine working again, and that was no easy task. And then they're working on a second device which takes into account some additional sources of error. And so I'm really hopeful that I mean, basically, if inertial cancellation happens anywhere, it's with that dynamic nuclear polarization thing. There's got to be a way to describe dynamic nuclear polarization in terms of squeeze states, I imagine. It looks like they're shunting quantum noise from the nucleus to the electrons, and the electrons being so much lighter than the nucleus, overall you'll lose inertial mass. So I don't know. It's interesting. Or I don't know. Gravitational inertial, I don't know. But
well, those quasi particles that behave differently in different dimensions, like I sent you that paper.
Phasons.
There's
in
a
the
whole,
quasi. There was something in quasi crystals called phasons.
Yeah,
but that's
phasons.
not. I mean, those are just. I mean, at least as far as my own knowledge base goes, understanding the quasi particles and nonlinearities particular to each material allows you to engineer stuff because you need a parametric effect for very low noise. That's low noise amplifiers are often done with a parametric effect, by the way. But then you have your parametric effect, and then you also need a small nonlinearity. And then when you have both of those, you can have like cold electricity effects and things. But this is a whole other field. Tonight we're talking about the Jersey drones.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what that is, and it doesn't make any sense until you build it and show it.
Yep. Working on it.
Drone sightings prompt worries, but theories could explain what's happening. Yeah, there's lots of theories. Doesn't mean any one of them is right, but I just want to remind people that there's tons of human technologies that they're not telling you about. And when the Pentagon is coming out and saying that we don't know what these are, this was 2 days ago.
What was that that lady who was saying like they were going to fake a UFO invasion or something? You had an interview with her on your channel.
Rosen. I could play that. But...
Carol Rosen. Yeah, I mean, might as well remind people like, hey, what if this is all like fake in order to? I mean, I could see them trying that as like a last ditch attempt to get power back, because it seems like Trump's taken over and the whole power structure in Washington's concerned about its existence now. We'll see. Well, anyways, I should probably head out.
Behind having
I got a lot to do. I got a lot to do tomorrow.
Well, we're working through
in the
groups and
office.
partners that do have relationships with HTS. So we have ways of communicating messages.
All right. Well,
again,
take care. Thank you for joining.
of course, we want to
and
work
if
towards
you,
any deconfliction, especially our number one priority.
You know, come up with anything else, let me know. Yeah, and I'm glad we mentioned the Pentagon, the plasma balls and the laser-induced plasmas, because there's a lot of plasma sphere technology where they can create orbs or fake orbs, and there's lots of faking technology that they can do. I want to find that Japanese company.
Oh, I can get you the link for that before I go. Let's see.
Yeah, see if you can post that in the private chat. I forget where it was. Japanese. Laser plasma displays. Yeah, here's.
Here at BYU, in the holography group, we are working to create the displays of science fiction. Displays like the holodeck from Star Trek or the Princess Leia projector from Star Wars. So most displays, including 3D displays, require you to look at a screen. But our technology creates images that are floating out in space, and they're physical. The way our new optical trap technology works is that we have a laser beam. It traps a little particle in the air, and then that beam moves around and it drags that particle around with it. And then if we move it fast enough, we will see the entire image all at once. Most of these images we created were done with long exposures. We rastered out an image over time. Today, we're able to actually create simple animations. Here are two toys small enough to fit in our current display volume. So they are teeny tiny. This dot is a trapped particle. So it's being held by an invisible laser beam, illuminated by a visible laser beam to form the outline of an explosion. Here we see the particle moving back and forth rapidly as it's illuminated to give the effect of a phaser blast or a disruptor charge moving back and forth between the ships. What you're seeing in this scene is real. There is nothing computer generated about it. These are real lasers moving around in space between these two ships. So unlike the movies, where the lightsabers never really existed in physical space, these are actual luminous beams rising from these lightsabers. So this is still just one particle drawing both these lightsaber beams. It's just moving fast enough that it can change location and change color. And it would happen in real time as the battle was occurring. And we've used our display to draw in the air a little stick figure. So here we have our stick man walking across the surface of a student's finger. We did want to show how this type of image could interact with a human. A volumetric display, like our display, is different than other types of 2D and some 3D displays in that it doesn't have a screen. Because our images are made from glowing particles inside a fixed volume, we can really only draw images inside that volume.
So if, for example, I wanted to display a mountain and I wanted it to look like the size of a real mountain, I would have to build a volumetric display the size of a mountain.
In our most recent research, we are trying to create images that exist outside our drawing volume. What we've done is we've taken a very small 3D printed house. What we're trying to do is to make the moon look like it exists outside the drawing volume by making that moon track the viewer. We're moving the camera, and we're also moving that moon image that we're drawing in the air in synchrony, so it gives the impression that it's behind the house when in fact it's being drawn in front of the house.
We can play some fancy tricks with motion parallax, and we can make the display look a lot bigger than it physically is. This methodology would allow us to create the illusion of a much deeper display up to kind of theoretically an infinite size display. And that's all by changing the image as the viewer translates through the scene.
We now have the opportunity, as our images get bigger, to create experiences for the viewer that are beyond our drawing volume. We can create environments that are outside rooms or beyond windows using this technique.
Well then. Yeah, that's
I think I found the
incredible.
original. I think I found the Japanese one with the laser plasma. These there's many of these that use a particle floating in air. That one's. I don't know whether that one's. These,
Aerial and volumetric graphics in air by femtosecond lasers. Laser-induced plasma emits light without involving any physical matter. Daily life applications can be explored because plasma induced by a femtosecond laser is quieter and safer than that by a nanosecond laser. Our results led to calmer and safer plasma generation that can be incorporated into our daily lives. The design space and possible scenarios of the plasma-based 3D display are discussed.
So there's a few others that use particles, and this uses this one uses plasma. And I mean, if you imagine trying to use the military lasers for this that are like many kilowatts, you can certainly induce a laser plasma spot at a distance of a few miles and have it go around at hypersonic speeds without any issue.
Yeah, because they mentioned like they needed a bigger thing the size of a mountain to do like a mountain size one, but
yeah, well, I mean, if you're just doing a laser spot in the sky that's going to reflect
I know,
our
yeah, you could have a space-based system even and be able to do incredible stuff. So yeah, there's tons of tech out there, guys, that people don't know about. I guess Mark is not going to join us, so we'll just wait on that. You can check out my UAP technical summary here with tons of other technologies on visibility technology, etc. And
the Lake Marabou stuff is very interesting too. I'm looking forward to that getting declassified.
yeah, that would be awesome. I hope he can talk in 2027 and share all that, because that needs to come out definitely.
That's if that's ground-based power, that could be better than chemical rockets for getting into space.
Potentially.
First thing, like if something goes wrong, you just turn off the laser on the ground, and like the vehicle in the sky just loses power and falls back down and use a parachute. So like with a chemical rocket, you're on a giant bomb, you know? And like chemical rockets, it's just the engineering. It's you have very slim margin for error. But with Lake Marabou stuff, like, yeah, I mean, if you can propel it from the ground with a sufficiently bright laser and just ionize air as propulsion, and you can give it like megawatts of power output from the ground, that becomes way easier for propulsion than a chemical rocket. And that's all conventional technology too. That's nothing special in terms of anti-gravity or whatever else. So I'm really excited to see that declassified. I mean, maybe that's what they used to set up the secret space program. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that would be amazing if these craft are really, super advanced technology that we don't know about.
That's not even super advanced. Like, I mean, powerful lasers. They used to have chemical-based powerful lasers on. Like, I suppose you couldn't use that for this application as much, maybe if you wanted to shut it off fast. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing what they already have that just people in the public don't think about often because they're not reminded of it much.
Indeed. Well, guys, again, there's tons of technologies. We talk about all these and more on Alien Scientist. If you're not subscribed already, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you had a good night on getting deep on the physics and stuff. We're going to have some better guests coming up soon, and stay tuned for more interviews and, lab results as they come in.
Hopefully Mark can talk soon. It'll be cool.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't know what's going on. I hope it all don't get bought out, and then you guys know no one's going to talk, and it's all going to go black.
Hopefully not.
I want it all to come out to the public, man, for this Christmas. Hopefully, man. Let's do another stream on Christmas, the day before Christmas Eve, and see if we can get some folks on.
I'll be out in Nevada. Maybe actually, yeah. See if you can reach out to Ken Griggs. I'll be out in his neighborhood, so
yeah,
it'd be cool we could do a live stream with him again.
That would be great. I would like an update from Ken, and he was supposed to reveal part 3 of the Phoenix theory, and that was going to be the one.
He's putting stuff up on. Actually, yeah. I'll head out. You go check his YouTube channel. It's absolutely tiny, but he's put up a few new videos recently about his theory. It's a little bit esoteric at the moment, but if I'm understanding it correctly, it's very intriguing. It's a bunch of newly applied, I wouldn't say entirely new, but newly applied or differently applied non-abelian math, and then some lineage on top of that. But it's very exciting what he's got there. I'd still like to talk to him and learn about it more deeply at some point soon. But all the stuff David Chester and I were looking at with the superfluid behaviors of basically actually, yeah, I don't know if I've actually mentioned this on your live stream, so I'll just mention it quickly. So basically, Sal Pais was talking about this fellow. What was his name? Carson Huang. A superfluid universe. Pull that up if you can. So Sal Pais was talking about Carson Huang, and Carson Huang basically was saying that the Higgs mechanism is mathematically equivalent to Ginzburg-Landau theory for superfluids. So basically, the Higgs field constitutes a superfluid medium in space, composed of real Higgs bosons with real mass in a Bose-Einstein condensate. And so, in principle, you could push off of this material medium, and that's what I think is happening in Charles Bueller's device. He's somehow creating an electrohydrodynamic force on, or what do you call it, dielectrophoresis force on this superfluid medium. Anyway, yeah, Sal Pais was right to direct us to that stuff. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's great, man. I can't wait to. Maybe I should reach out to Sal and see if he'd come back on. Talk
Yeah,
to us.
maybe. Yeah, him and Dave. I need to catch up with Dave too. I changed my phones, so the safety number on my signal's different. So we haven't talked much, but I need to get back in touch with Dave, and I have many questions to ask him about the stuff I saw on his Patreon page. I still don't understand that system fully, but it's interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for a great night. I wish I could be of more help to all this. Just trying to report on it and get the information out there as best I can. And I don't have a huge audience or a huge viewership, but I do what I can. So,
Good.
thank you guys for
We all
watching.
just got to do what we can.
Yeah, I'm tired, man. It's been a long week, and I have a long day tomorrow. So have a good night, guys. Get
Have a
some
good
rest.
night.
Thanks.